reading some announcements very quickly. The first one is that it's Camp Week. Who would have thought? Who would have thought? How many of you have been to camp? Oh, nice. Me too. Yeah, so yeah, CBC and camps were in partnership, and it's a great opportunity. I definitely was a person who would never have saw myself becoming a camp person, but now technically I am a camp person, and I'm okay with that. They're pretty wild, but it's a good lifestyle. So another announcement we have is that student leadership applications are open until March 12th. Wednesday night, there's going to be a worship night in here. It's a 70-person limit, so it's first come, first serve. And lastly, reading week is February 27th to March 7th. So I'm not going to be reading, but I definitely will not be here. And that's pretty fun. Awesome. So if you would like to stand, I'm going to do a call for worship, and then we'll begin. Gathered in the name of Jesus Christ, inspired by the Holy Spirit, and blessed by God, we come to worship one holy God. O God, our own God, how wonderful it is your name in all the earth. Your majesty is the music and the starry skies, yet even children can sing your praises. In the name of the healer, the provider, and the enabler, let your gratitude and joy be made known. O God, our own God, how wonderful is your name in all the earth. Amen.
You come shelter. I wasn't alone, and you called me a citizen of heaven. When I was broken, you were my healing. Now your love is the air I'm breathing.
So we're gonna start off our camp chapel with some testimonies. So I'm going to invite Sheridan and Charlotte to share. You guys can take a seat. Yeah.
Hi guys. So those who don't know me, my name is Sheridan. I am a fourth year student here at CBC. I am also one of the two camp ambassadors for Timberline Ranch this year, and also the camp ambassador also for Muskoka Woods. Not entirely, but okay. But if I were to describe camp in one word, it would be that, two, it'd be transformational and it's impactful. I have worked and volunteered now for different camps here in Canada, 3 here in BC and Muskoka out in Ontario. And throughout my entire time there, I've just enjoyed the fact that you can just pour into these students' lives. Because you never know who is coming to camp, what burdens they're bringing, what baggage they're bringing. And the fact that camp is a safe place for them to just be themselves and just to grow into who they are is impactful enough. The fact that like also it impacts you too as a student, as a leader. You learn life skills throughout all of it. And if I were to do one story, it'd be probably during my time at Timberline. I was one of the counselors, and I just have enjoyed the late night chats outside of the cabin at night when it's past lights out slightly. But like the fact that you're able to have that one-on-one time with that student, that youth, and just be able to kind of go deeper into their lives and like hear about their stories a lot more. So that's my experience. If you guys want to know more, find me on campus and I will let you know a bit more of that. With that being said, I'm inviting Trevor up who can share his piece as well.
Alright, so I am Trevor. I'm one of the camp ambassadors for this week. You guys can come and find me and ask me about my experience. I have many stories that cannot fill in my 2-minute time slot today, unfortunately. So this week I'm representing Camp Squia, which is found in Hope, about an hour and 15-minute drive away. Maybe an hour, depends on how fast I drive. I think the record might be somewhere around 56 minutes. I have a crazy friend. He's not crazy anymore, just used to drive. Anyways, I'm here to talk about camp, not about how fast it gets. So, as voiced by Sheridan, camp is an amazing place for you to try a bunch of different and new activities that you may not get to experience in your everyday life, but it's also about building relationships. You have campers come to you and you know nothing about them in the week unless you know them from maybe your local church. But you have these kids who you have no idea who they are. You have 1 week to get to know them and you make an impact in their life. And not only do you make an impact in their life, but they make an impact in yours. And so I thought today I would share a story. Sheridan did an amazing job introducing what this like. So I thought a story would also work pretty good for me. So this would happen in my 2018 year of working at camp. I had this one camper who, I won't give any names, but he was a handful. He was a lot, and he drew a lot of my attention away from other campers in my cabin, which at the time frustrated me so much. I came to camp and I was like, I want to be this huge impact in campus lives. I want to be their friend. I want to get to know them. I want to get an amazing week. And then I had this one camper who was like, no, I'm just going to walk slow, or even pretended to be blind, which, yeah, it was a lot. It was a week. And so, unfortunately, that whole week I had to give that kid a lot more of my attention. I didn't get to spend as much time with my other campers. So, fast forward to Thursday night, which is the last night before they go home. Again, my kid he's doing another shenanigan. He's acting really, just acting out and being very slow. And so we're late getting to chapel. But we get there and we sit in the back. I'm like, okay, this kid isn't paying attention to chapel. He's not going to pay attention to the songs that's being said. I'll just talk with him. And so in that time, I got to know him more than I had earlier in the week. Because I focused a lot more on the behavior, what was happening, not what was behind the behavior. I learned a lot about the kid and a lot about home life and how myself in this counselor camp was a male influence that he didn't have in his everyday life. And so getting that attention from me was impactful for him. It was something that he didn't get. And so that clicked in my head, and that totally changed my whole perspective of the week. From seeing this one kid who was nagging on me and drawing me away from other campers to a kid who he just needed me. And I was able to be there for him. And seeing how God even has worked for me in that week, incredibly impactful. And so these are one of the many stories as why I would suggest people going to camp. Is because you get these crazy things that you never would experience otherwise. Yeah, thank you for listening to me today.
Well, we're going to continue with some scholarship, so feel free to stand. Thank you so much for your time and show.
Oh, there's nothing better than you. No, there's nothing better than you. Lord, there's nothing. Nothing is better than you.
God, we thank you. Thank you that we can find ourselves here once again. That we have the privilege to be able to know you and to worship you. I thank you for the calling you have for us, and that you know us by name. I pray that as Nigel comes up to speak, that we would just be able to really hear his words, and that you would be able to speak through them. In Jesus' name, amen.
Hello. Okay, so I've never done this before, so this is brand new to me. So here we go. This is basically all of camp. It's just showing up and figuring it all out. You have absolutely no idea what you're doing, but somehow you get roped into speaking for 3 days. Okay. So my name's Nigel, and I work at Stillway. For many years, I used to work in the kitchen. I was a cook. And then I was assistant food service manager, and then I started branching out into program while doing some program stuff all throughout those years as well, of course. But now I am the interim program director since this year has changed everyone's life. And I'm really excited about it, and I love it, and I have a big passion for people. So much has changed over camps this past year. And it's like life is just so different. But what I want to talk about today is who camp is. Because camp's not about the people, and it's not about the activities, it's about the people. It's not about the activities, the buildings, that kind of stuff, it's about the people. It's about what you do and what you learn and who you become afterwards. So a quick example of that is that I'm also a supervisor for Elections BC and Elections Canada. So I'm very used to yelling at people and getting people in line, but actually speaking here and having everyone actually pay attention to me is very different. Usually they're just like, oh, no, someone's yelling over there, whatever. But an example from that is last year in the BC election, I was stationed at a really small little community hall in Langley, and there was like no parking. And it was the central hub for advanced voting in all of Langley. And there's about 13 parking stalls, and we had over 1,000 people come in and vote every single day. So it was a nightmare. And then since I'm in charge, I have to be inside, making sure everything goes smoothly, and then outside, preventing accidents at the same time. So I'm out there and I'm running back and forth, and I'm directing traffic in the moment outside, directing all this traffic, and there was only one accident, so woo-hoo! Anyway, but while I'm directing traffic, I suddenly stopped and realized I only know how to do this because of camp. And like, I've never thought about that. All the lessons I've learned about camp and what it's taught me, you don't realize those things that it teaches you in the background, right? Those things that you're like, hey, put on a vest and go tell those people where to park, right? Suddenly, you need it later in life, and you're good at it, and you don't know how you got good at it. That's something I love telling people about camp. Those things that you just don't know about. There is, one of my favorite stories is about this girl who, in 2008, she was one of the first girls that I had on my work crew in the kitchen, and she was awful. She was moody, and she was angsty, and she hated me. I tried to talk to her, I tried to engage with her, I tried to make her laugh. She gave me nothing. and she scowled at me, and it was just brutal. And I was grateful when she left. Let me tell you, I'm not proud of it, but I was grateful when she left. And then the next year, she came back, and she was slightly different, and she talked to me a little bit, right? And then the year after, she came back again, and she was more engaging. And over the years, I watched this girl go from that super moody, angsty person who absolutely hated me and didn't want to interact with anyone, to then suddenly, right now, she lives in Vancouver, and she works on the downtown east side in an RV with homeless youth. That's an incredible transition. Like, camp is like a huge part of that. She ended up becoming an interim program director, exactly what I'm doing now, and doing all sorts of stuff. She was a head counselor as well. Like, she grew from that little person who I was grateful to be gone to now just like being one of my greatest friends and allies in talking to youth and engaging with people and trying to change lives. That's pretty cool. Camp, speaking of, is built on the shoulders of teenagers and young adults. Nothing would happen without them. I recognize this, and as someone who worked very closely with our youth development program, all the 14 and 15-year-olds that came in, it's the first thing that I would ever tell them. Like, all the counselors, they're going to give you some crap. They're going to forget that they were once you. And you are important, and you need to know that you are loved and valued, and we would not be here without you. And it's still the same. It will always be the same. Camp will always be the same. It will always be run on the backs and shoulders of youth and young adults. When I started at camp in 2008, they gave us this beautiful little journal to write all our thoughts in, and it's very thin because I ripped out all the empty pages because I wrote in it for like a week and then ditched it because that's just what happens. So, but I colored back to make me feel like I did something. So, in here, there's one line in here on one of my first shifts that I ever had, and I wrote in there that I just wanted to crawl up and die. And I refer back to this book so often because I think about how much I have changed, how many things I have done since that day, since 2008 when I wrote that I just wanted to crawl up and die. It's terrifying, and you have no idea what you're doing, and yet you do it like today. So, of course, there's also a lot of fun along the way. There's some very random stories. I'm sure Trevor was alluding to some that he has as well. But there's some fun stories that I would love to highlight. Like in the kitchen, how many times I've seen people put, they want to make chocolate pudding, right? And then they turn the speed up to 3 and then press the on button, and then chocolate pudding just all over the walls, right? It's one of the most hilarious things you can ever see. And I mean, it's not my job to clean it up. They made the mess. And then there's all of the random people that walk around in cardboard body armor. Like, it's an everyday occurrence. There was this one guy who went more all out than I have ever seen, and he had every limb in perfect box form. And so he's like waddling across the field, right? And then the inevitable happens, he tripped, and he fell flat on his face, and there was just this perfect like cloud of dust. Just a nice little cartoon cloud of dust that rose up around him, and it was hilarious. And then somebody goes to help him up, of course. But these are the things that you get to see at camp every day. And it just becomes part of your life. And you wonder, how did I get to do this job? This is so cool. And then there's also the weird things like, why do campers love sloppy joes? I don't know. I hate them. I think they're disgusting. But those kids, man, they love them. So the food is it's its own thing, and then children are their own thing, and you never know what they're going to do, and you never know what they're going to bring into your life. But the whole way through, you are learning things without even realizing it. I'm sure, I'm not a parent yet, but I'm sure someday I'm gonna have those moments with my future kids and realize that I've already experienced some of those things with campers, right? And I never thought about it. So like, these are just life skills that they just show up in the background along the way when you're not even thinking about it, just because suddenly, yeah, you've been given all the responsibility in the world and you gotta figure it out. And it happens to every stage of life. What kind of camp person would I be if I hadn't also met my wife at camp? Because that happened. So, I don't know how I met her. I still don't know how I met her. I really don't. Because she sat at the same table as me and my friends and her best friend for the entire summer, every meal. I don't remember her being there. Literally don't. Sat in the same chair the entire summer. My friends, same chair. Her best friend, same chair. All summer, every meal. Her? Nope. No memory. Just blocked out. I think there must have been some God's timing on that one. I have no idea, but I didn't. There's even a staff photo where the two of us are standing right next to each other. And I don't have any memory of that. No. And that was like 2 years before we started dating. How did this happen? It's weird. And then suddenly there was just this moment of, oh, she's perfect. I gotta go talk to that girl. And that was pretty cool. Camp is amazing for that sort of thing. And I also got married at camp as well, because why not? It's where I work, it's where we met, it's everything about us. So I got married there, and that's really cool to see. Just to see that gazebo where we got married most of the days of my life. I see that. And it's the same place where I've also handed out glow sticks to campers during a night game, right? Or just like organized cleaning parties or what have you, right? Just everything happens. And yet I look at that and I'm like, man, I got married there. Like that's really cool, right? It's about those memories. It's not the building. It's not the structures. It's not necessarily the gazebo itself that brings that to me. It's all the experiences that I've had there, right? It's all the experiences, it's all the people, and all the people that you're surrounded by who are also growing at the same time as you. And you have no idea. You're growing, you're learning, and you're being creative, and you're having fun, and you're wearing more neon colors than should ever be allowed. And yet, it's just fantastic. Oh, and then of course there's the guy who is always wearing the weird horse head. It always shows up every year. Weird horse head, banana suit, whatever. You know, bring it. Bring your weird outfits to camp. We don't judge. It's great. Because you need that. You need that sense of like vulnerability, right? You need the sense of vulnerability and openness and willing to make fun of yourself and have fun and just live in the moment and for the good of everyone around you. And you have no idea the amount of impact that you're having on everyone around you when you do those things. Camp changed my life, and I don't know how far camp will take me. This year has changed so much, and I'm working so hard to bring us into summer 2021. And I know that all camps are. All camps are working so hard right now to try and figure out what can we do. Because last year sucked, and forever. And every camp has a different plan for this year. Every camp has a different style and format that they're going with this year. They're all going to be different. But the one thing that does not change is that they still need the people. They still need the people who are willing to sacrifice their lives to change the lives of others and be there for the kids or the families or whoever those camps are serving this year. And you could be a part of that. And it's really, really cool. For us at Stillwood, we're basing ours on Isaiah 43. And it started with Isaiah 43:19 that said, "For I am about to do something new. Do you not see it? I have already begun. I will make a pathway through the wilderness. I will create rivers in the wasteland." When I read that, I was so overcome with how relevant that is this year. Yeah, we're doing something new. And he asks, do you not see it? I've already begun. And I say, no, I don't see it. I don't see a path. I don't see a path forward. I don't see any way through this, right? But yet I'm walking it. And the creating rivers in the wasteland is something that's really, really speaking to me these days. I want to create that river through the wasteland. I want to see that path. And I don't see it yet, but I know it's going to be there. I know he's going to create it. I believe that God is going to make those rivers through the wasteland of whatever this year turns into. I believe that there's probably going to be changes that have to happen in our life and our plan the day before we start, just like so many places have done. And I'm gonna do it, and I'm gonna figure it out, and we're gonna figure it out together. So yeah, this year it's pretty cool. I don't know what to expect, but I just know that camp is still gonna change lives this year for whoever comes up and whoever does whatever they do at whichever camp they choose to go to, because camp's just that great. And that's it. I just camp. I can't talk about camp enough. You know, I can't talk about how much it's changed my life. It'll never. I don't even know if it's truly known to me how much it's changed my life yet. But it's about the people, and I would love for all of you to be part of those people. Let's pray. God, thank you for bringing us all here together, and thank you for helping us figure it all out together. Whatever it is that we have to figure out, whoever it is and whatever challenges we may face, thank you for always being there and helping us to figure those things out. Thank you for bringing us all here to talk about camp, to learn about camp, and to love camp. And thank you for helping me to get through this one day and help me to get through the rest of the 2 days this week as well. Thank you so much for just being an ever-present, just an ever-loving presence in my life, God. Thank you. Amen.
We have 2 songs left, so feel free to stand. God's unfailing love and faithfulness. God will not abandon you, for you are the work of his hands, his own creation, and his love endures forever. So go in joy to love and serve the Lord. Go in peace.